Here we are for day 27, service to purpose, the mission is you, and we're gonna see who wore it better. Yes, my name is Brooks Holland, and yes, I was in the swimming pool earlier today, and no, I did not do my hair before this video because I wanna show you that you too can hop on the internet without your hair, your makeup, or any of that stuff done. And yes, I said makeup because there's women that watch these videos too. And here we are for day 27. And I'm gonna quick recap first of our 5 core lessons. Number 1, every day we gotta wake up, we gotta decide, and we gotta take responsibility for that. Second thing, gallon of water, you can add lemons, cayenne pepper to it. The third thing, eat real food, watch your portions. Nothing crazy. If you wanna follow some stricter diet, you're more than welcome to, but eating real food, washing your portions, that's key. The fourth thing, a minimum of 1 hour per day of movement, exercise, weights, push-ups, jumping jacks, walk, whatever it is, get it done. And lastly, because we're doing all those good things for our body, we cannot corrupt ourselves and hurt the body with alcohol, cigarettes, no weed, no unprescribed medications. And even though this doesn't really have to do that, there's no porn, guys. Got to knock that off. Got to get to the bottom of why you're using that as your escape, but we'll get to more of that later on. But those are the things to stop doing and to cut out while you're doing the healthy stuff. And today, I'm going to talk about something that, yeah, I'm just going to see where it goes. I'm not really sure the details of what happened. Just I happened to hop on social media and I saw that there was a shooting or something. And I just glanced at some of the comments, not for anything details on the shooting, but more or less just to see people's responses. And really that's what I want to talk about because, again, this challenge is the mission is you. And that is what I care about. And I want to share some of my past experiences, and I want to let you know, I'm going to say this and you're going to fight me on it because I fought myself on it when people told me this years ago, but you got to really watch what you start putting in here. And that's going to be through the media, through all that stuff. And that's what we're going to talk about. And this is going to apply to whether it's a shooting, whether it's a presidential election, whether it's a plane crash, whether it's anything. I mean, this has nothing to do with Republican, Democrat. This is basically worried about you and the amount of time that's wasted and how powerful the belief sets we are that we create when we inundate ourselves with these things, how the brain works and how we end up, staying in these loops and attracting more of that in our lives. And I'm also going to touch on why we do some of those things. I grew up as somebody that was, the news was important. The news. My dad, listened to talk radio, the news in the car. We had the news on the television. We had the newspaper at the house. And it was, it was like this thing, like you need to be informed, you need to be responsible and be informed. Got even more of that being in the military. And I get it. There's a blend of like needing to know what's going on in the world, especially when you're traveling the world and you're in the military. But it was weird. I'll ask you this, are you really happy when you follow the news? I mean, we'll all sit here and logically say, like, the news is mostly negative, yet we will sit there and feed on it. I mean, I look at the amount of, time per day I used to dedicate towards the news, and then I want you to think about how it made you feel, because I know how it made me feel. I know that I got to be right about a lot of things, but I think the big shift for me is I was actually doing an event for the YPO. It's called the Young Presidents Organization. These are all basically 7, 8, 9, 10-figure business owners. And there was something came up, and it was kind of funny. Like, I was the only person that knew anything about some current event or what happened. And I was just kind of shocked. I'm like, here's all these really, really successful, really, really wealthy people, and they didn't pay any attention to the news. And here I was, this really, really broke, unhappy person, yet, man, I knew everything that was going on in the news. And that's really the part that I want to get to today, is really taking a look at the information, the content that you're consuming, and is that content serving you, or is it just a way to hide? And I know that that might seem like a big stretch right now. Like, what do you mean I'm hiding? I'm being informed. Well, just stay with me a minute. So The way the brain works is there's a thing called the reticular activation system. So it's like whatever you start looking at, whatever you start looking at, looking for, the brain goes out there and finds more of it. And that's what happens with all these charged topics like shootings and politics and, insert any type of political anything like that. Again, this isn't about what the thing is. This is about what's underneath the surface. I mean, we see it, because I used to be the same way. And I think the other shift for me was the 2012 election. Like I saw how I going on Facebook and I was like, all this stuff, and the way it made me feel. So I made a commitment to myself then that I was not going to like, comment, or share anything that was remotely political, anything like that. I was just going to basically stay on there to connect with friends. And it took a lot of work not to want to chime in. But the funny thing is now, and Rita brings up, I guess there was some sort of shooting. I know zero details and it's really irrelevant. Every single thing that happened, it's tragic. It's tragic there's a shooting, it's tragic there's a car accident, it's tragic somebody dies of heart disease. Like all these things are tragic. And every day across the planet, there's tragic stuff that's going on. Now the question is, does it serve you to steam and fester and consume as much information as you can about these things? Because I know someone happened, it's like I would be watching it on 3 different news channels and then I'm Googling it at the same time and I'm reading articles, all fulfilling this loop. And what happens is, some of these things are tragic. Like I'll just use a plane going down as an example because that's not politically charged. A plane goes down, yet we all know statistically that plane travel is exponentially safer than car travel. I mean, if you really want to look at it, the most common ways that we can die here in the United States are pretty much car accidents and then a variety of essentially self-inflicted, medical type things. So let's just keep it simple there. I'm not going into all the exact pieces. So a plane goes down. It's basically, statistically doesn't happen very often, but what happens? It gets looped on the news. I mean, it's constant, it stays in the news cycle for as long as it possibly can, because what's the media's job? I used to think the media's job was, to keep people educated. No, the media's job is to sell advertising. It's to sell advertising and it's to make money. And that's the thing. It makes money by selling fear and getting people into these loops where they keep gathering information. So all of a sudden, like a plane goes down, but when we consume, hours upon hours for days in a row on it, our brain starts looking for more of these things. And now we have a disproportionate, perspective. Now we have this perception, oh my God, it's like planes go down all the time, becomes the story and the belief set that's running underneath. And that starts changing our decision making. That starts affecting the way that we feel. Like, yeah, it's terrible, but unless it was, a friend, a family, or loved one on the plane, noted, and move on to your life. Like, how does it serve you? Because let's just say most of these calamities, catastrophes, tragic things that happen, most of them don't really have an impact directly on our lives. But what happens is we get so emotionally involved in these types of things. And really, what is it? I mean, would you rather be emotionally involved in something that's tragic and sorrow, or would you rather be out living your life and being successful? And I think that going back to that young president organization, like here's a bunch of, people that were extremely successful. They were happy. They spent time with their friends, their family. I was like, man, like I want that. But I wasn't living my life. I wasn't taking the actions that they were to live that life. And so I'm really thinking about adding it as a number 6 to this challenge, being stop watching the news. Stop liking, commenting, sharing. I don't care if it's a funny meme or whatever. Take yourself out of that equation. And just to start with, just do it for 30 days. Go on a news fast. Go on I'm not going to get wrapped up in that stuff on social media. And I want you to just take an honest assessment to see if you're, how you feel, if you're happier. I mean, I got to tell you, I haven't paid I don't know anything Trump has said because I don't pay attention to any of it, because it really doesn't have an impact on my life. 99.99999% of where you are in life and I'm in life has to deal with us. It's, but we can waste so much time hanging on every word that a president says or something he does. But, he's, oh no, but there's taxes or this or that, but it's just all a distraction. In the end, so what if the president raises taxes? If you're focusing on yourself and your gift, and really that's what it gets down to, because the mission is you. And I want to pull, you can't access your gift if you're watching the news, if you're looping around in some cycle. And I guess that's what I saw. Somebody posted, I guess there was a shooting. I know zero details, but there's a couple of, one woman was like, I guess she's from the United States, but she's like, I'm terrified to come back to the United States with my kids because it's so unsafe. And it's like, wow. In a country of 350 million people, yes, these things happen. Yes, they're tragic, but you can see how there's a deep-rooted belief there. And I just kind of scanned. There was a lot of people that were really passionate about being right about whatever it is. In this case, it was a shooting. It's just like, and I guess the thing is does that serve you? Does that serve your kids to be making decisions, everything from a place of fear? And really, that's just what I don't want you to do, because if you're coming from a place of fear, and then again, when you're coming from that place, that's what your brain's looking out for. Your brain is going to go out there and find more evidence of things being unsafe. Ooh, there was a car up. See, yep, stuff's unsafe. Ooh, a plane went down. Yep, see, things are unsafe. And you can see how you can start getting in this world where your brain, it's doing it to keep you safe based on a belief set. So you're going to go out there, you're going to read more of the news articles, and you're going to follow the same people on social media that have a similar opinion to you. You'll start deleting and blocking others that don't, all to protect this opinion. But in the end, you can't access your greatness. You can't access your purpose when you're worrying about all this other stuff out there that in the end, 99.999% of the time, truly does not have a direct impact on your life. So really look at, the time spent on social media, liking, commenting, sharing around stuff like that. The thing is does it really make you happy? Even if there was, more shootings or more planes going down or more car accidents, does dwelling on that, does that make your life better or worse? If it doesn't make it better, then why dwell on it? And if you can't do anything about it, which again, yes, for the vote, cast your vote, make your decision, that's fine. But for the 4 years till the next time you vote, how much time, energy, effort, how much of that feeling inside are you going to waste doing that? Because I'll say for me, it was just a way to hide. It was just a way to hide and occupy time. Because guess what? If you're replying to people on Facebook, if you're bouncing between all the news channels to get, the latest updates on the latest tragedy, guess what you're not doing? You're not helping other people. You're not growing a business. You're not spending time with your kids. And if you are doing that when you're spending time with your kids, they're growing up with the same elements of fear that, it doesn't have to be that way. Just like anytime something bad happens, guess what? There's people that have a different belief set. They look at things a different way. They see opportunity. A lot of it's easy to see the negative, but that was, again, going back to that YPO conversation. This was people that were incredibly successful financially. And what I learned is, and again, it's not like they said it and I grasped it then. This was probably, this is well over 10 years ago now when I had this. And some of this stuff, it's been a process. It took me a couple years to stop liking, commenting, and indulging on this stuff and quote unquote debating. Let's be honest, how many people have ever changed their opinion based on a debate on Facebook? It doesn't happen. But really, when we're spending all this time and energy there, it's basically we're basically hiding and covering up, our own unresolved emotional trauma. And that's really where we need to get to the root, because it's something it's basically the ego using this to distract us. We'll sit there, we'll watch all the news, we'll do all the research because we get to be right about it. We get to be right about, because if someone says, hey, it's unsafe in America, their brain's going to go out there and it's going to actively look for every single instance that it's unsafe in America. And so what do you get? You get the opinion and the belief that America is unsafe. But conversely, there's people that look at America as nothing but it's the land of opportunity. Is it perfect? No. But which belief set's going to serve you more? That, something's always dangerous, or that there's always an opportunity for benefit and love and connection and growth and business and impact? And so I think I am going to do that. I think I'm going to add a number 6, which is, to start there, but I would say almost permanent, but take a 30-day media fast. Media fast meaning newspapers, all that stuff. And I want you to come back and let me know how it goes. And the other thing too about all that stuff, if you go back to video 16, I talk about the 6 basic human needs. That's something that came from Tony Robbins. And if you look at the news and all these things, you're going to see that it becomes a very, very, very powerful addiction. So go back to video 16, I go over that in depth, and you're going to meet 3 to 4 of the lower end of the human needs by basically being addicted to that 24-hour news cycle. And you get the consistency, you get the significance, and you get the connection. You get connection with other people, and it just feeds into a nasty, ugly loop. And I only say that because I was there for many years. And I'm just telling you, to be able to come out here, this beautiful lake, come out here with my boy Flops, and again, I used to fight tooth and nail. What do you mean, don't watch the news? You got to be a responsible American and know what's going on in the world. Dude, let's be honest. Most of the news, we all know logically, most of it's negative. It doesn't really have, it doesn't really serve much purpose. And I can say I have had exponentially more joy and fulfillment in my life when I stop. I don't get a newspaper. I don't even, I used to every day. I used to go read the Drudge Report, and I'd read a couple of the bloggers and stuff like that, just to see, the Drudge was just a links from news articles all over the world, but just it gave me a quick snapshot. But I cut all that stuff out. If something's really, really important, what's cool is you'll find out about it. It will find you. Just trust me on that. I know this is going to be a hard, thing to break for a lot of you, because I know how hard it was for me. But I know that, we've got an election coming up, and trust me, if you could invest that much time, effort, and passion into arguing about or debating about politics or bad things that happen in the news, imagine if you invested that in your purpose and in your gift. And really, that's my goal. My goal is for you to get out there, to get your joy and fulfillment because you're helping people, because you're passionate about what you're doing, not because it's your ego keeping you in a loop where it's a place where you get to be right, where you get to have this crazy addiction, revolving around the news and the negative stuff in life. Because we've seen this people at the end, it's they're negative about everything, but they're no, I'm not negative, I'm just being real. And the reason they're being real is because they've gathered all this evidence from all the news and all the data and all the website links and all this stuff, and they're a realist and they get to be right about it. But is that really how you want to go through life? And so really that's the thing. I'm not saying, but it's just a matter of, all I can tell you is I am exponentially more happy and joyful, not paying attention to any of that stuff. And I haven't missed anything. It's so freeing to go on Facebook and just scroll right through the nonsense that's going on. And it's about being at peace with yourself. And really, that's the whole point of this service to purpose, the mission is you challenge. So this is day 27. I'll be back tomorrow for day 28. Please, I know this one's a little bit longer, almost twice as long, but I just think it was just an important concept. And it just kind of came to me. Originally, I was just going to do it on, again, it was pool day. I just came out, to go walk the dog. Got my, who was the professor from Back to the Future? But whatever, hey, it's all good. Because I'm happy and I'm comfortable with myself, and I wanted to give you the freedom to do the same. So stop watching the news, take back that time, free up that space in your mind, and remember, the mission's you. We're gonna uncover that greatness, and that starts with taking all this other crap out of the way. so that you can start living, start connecting, start being you. Flops and I will see you tomorrow. Again, I ask you who wore it better. I don't know, Flops. I think it's a tie, buddy. All right. I will see you tomorrow.